Hello everybody, welcome to Evil Ted Live here on twitch.tv/EvilTedSmith. In today's episode, we're going to be making a helmet, a Viking helmet. All you have to do is go to my store, download the pattern, and we can build it together. Looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. Let's get started. Here it is, the Viking helmet pattern. Now we have the two tops. This is the helmet, the two sides, the back plate, and this is the face shield, and of course the brow detail. Now we're going to start with the helmet. This is going to be done out of a 1/2 inch, or you can use 10mm EVA foam. So we're going to cut these guys out first. Floor mat foam. Now reason being, I love TNT foam. Their stuff is amazing. If I had some, I'd use it, but my thing is, for this helmet, I'm going to go back in and beat up with a Dermel so it doesn't have to be perfect. Because my plan is to make this helmet, I'm just going to kind of really beat it up. Now I'm traced, I go ahead and I like to label what's on the pattern. We both know it's going to be a right. Put an R in here for right. This is my top. I just put a little B on the edge. I know these two edges go together. And this is the front, and this is the back. So now that we have these done, we're going to flip them over and make them the left. Since we're here, get the blade. Let's go ahead and cut these out now. What I like to do is I like to cut the whole thing out so you can just break them up in pieces because it makes it easier to cut. All right, as you can see, I am cutting these at 90 degrees, keeping this blade upright. Again, let the tip touch the table and let the blade do the work. Just like that. These are the top of the helmet, so we have these cut. We're going to set these aside and move on to the smaller detail pieces. We're going to cut these guys out at a thinner foam. Now we got these pieces that you guys can see right here. I'm going to cut this out of 6mm foam. This is, of course, the roll mat foam I got at an automotive store, but this is the perfect thickness I need. So I'm going to go ahead and trace this. This being the back plate, we only need one of these. So I'm just going to cut this out. Let's see. Got my knife, got my sharpener. Hey, if you want to know where we get one of these, I'll have a link on this below the video. All right, let's get down to it. Got it. And again, can't beat a sharp blade. Now, of course, one thing about this stuff that has is, don't dig this texture. It really is kind of a pain in the butt. So I'm going to take these guys. They're a little bit curled. But I'm going to take these guys, I'm going to take on the belt sander, and I just want to flatten these edges off really quickly. Now you can do it with the Dremel, but since I have a belt sander over here, I'm just going to do that really quick. We'll come right back. Now it's time to move on to cutting out these two pieces. This is going to be the face shield, and this is the brow that's on top for the detail. We're going to cut this one out of 4mm foam. And luckily I have my wonderful TNT silver Sharpie. Normally I'm not a big fan of silver Sharpies, but TNT, these work magically. You ready for this? Ta-da! Perfect. And let's see if I can squeeze the oh, wait a minute. Oh my God. Yes. I am so happy we can make pieces fit onto foam, onto scrap foam that is. Now if you notice on the original design, there's lines for the detail, and how I go about doing that is you take your pattern, and let's do this, let's find the center line real quick. And then I take this line and I bring it up just a little bit, like this. And use your pattern as a template. So and then you scoot it back a little bit more. And there you go. See, get some detail. Now for these eye holes, let me go ahead, let's do that with an X-Acto blade. Now we have this kind of swirly guy. I could cut this out with the X-Acto blade, but right over off camera I have a scroll saw. So I'm going to take advantage of the tool that I have here in the shop and cut this out. Unfortunately, I have to do this off camera. All right, we're going to go ahead and preheat these and curl these to put them together. I have my foam anvil again, which is just, again, I have a detailed video about how to heat form foam right there. Also on this acrylic dome, epoxied onto a wood dowel and a wood base. But again, if you don't have something like this, you can just use something simple as a plastic ball. I had a friend of mine used to take a softball. He would just put it on a roll of tape on top of a table, and he would just roll foam in that too. But just as long as you have something curved, you can just push heat on. Will work just as well. Just rock it. I just want to get that curl. There we go. See this right there? That's plenty. That's all I need. Move it on. All right, I got the top of the helmet's heat curled and shaped up. Have my sight pieces up, and I realized before we go any further, these small round holes, these are going to be holes to hang the armor off with straps. So I figured while everything is still flat, I just take a sharp brass tube and let's go ahead and cut these guys out. Also, with a sharp brass tube and you're cutting your foam, what I like to do is sometimes, which I've done, if you push too hard, it'll go all the way through and you'll make a little circle cut in your finger. So what I do is always take a piece of scrap foam and put behind it to push so I know I can make it all the way through. Oh, I can feel it. There, see? There you go. Perfect. Now all the holes have been punched with the brass tube. I'm going to move on to gluing. So we're going to start with the top of the helmet first. I'm going to have my contact adhesive, and we're going to start with the darts first. Put some contact adhesive into these darts. Now, what I like to do is I take some contact adhesive, kind of brush it in both sides. Pretty heavy. I take a piece of scrap foam and just trace it all the way down into the cracks. That's how you know you get all the way in there. And of course, with contact adhesive, I always find that the thinner it is, the better it is. Just get a nice thin coat, and the thinner it is, the faster it dries. Oh, wait a minute. You know what I don't have on my hands? Gloves. Pow, movie magic. And you start from the inside. Right all the way up. And of course, you see there's a little bit of a lip right here. You want that edge to go there, so you kind of pull it out and line it up. Because that line goes flush with that, like that. There you go, perfect. Now that all the darts have been glued together, our next step is to do the A edge. So we're going to take the right back and the right front. I'm going to glue these edges together, which will say A. So we're going to do these next. So same drill, kind of adhesive, scrap foam. And the reason I use the scrap foam is it makes the glue go nice and even. That really helps prevent little gaps and stuff when you're putting your helmet pieces together. You line them up like so, line them up. The front right and the front left. So our next step is going to go and glue these two top edges and put these guys together. All right. That is the top of our helmet. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to let this glue set for a little bit. The longer it sits, the better. I'm going to give this like about 35, 40 minutes, let this sit. Then I'm going to come back with my heat gun and heat this foam back up. The reason I'm doing it because it's kind of weird puckers and darts, but once you do that, it lets the foam relax and it'll take on its natural helmet shape like you made from the original pattern. While the helmet is drying, these are the details of the face shield. I'm going to take the Dremel. I got a little sanding drum here. I'm going to go ahead and smooth these edges out. I want to kind of tailor them down and smooth them out a little bit. Oh, and also I have Amazon link below the video for this. Now the bevel and the detail, this is going to be the face shield. That is why I took the Dremel and I dremeled both sides, because this is going to hang off the helmet. So you wrap around and kind of see the edge. So I thought it'd be nice to bevel both sides. But on this is actually going to get glued on top. And I only want to bevel the front side and keep the back side flat, as you can see right there. So I didn't bevel the back edge, just the top part, because this is going to get glued down onto the top of the helmet. We have two forms of detail here. This is on the front face shield. There's two ways of doing this. And I could go in with an X-Acto knife and cut and do a little heat shrinking. and get the details, or I could wood burn it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do both. I'm going to do this on the wood burner, this detail. I'm going to do a little trace, the silver Sharpie, and draw a little accent line around the mustache part, and then very carefully go in an X-Acto blade and cut it and do the heat shrink technique on that. So we'll do that on the top of this, and we'll use the wood burner for that. All right, now the trick to this is when you're cutting, you want to cut the foam, you want to score it, but you don't want to go all the way through. With a brand new blade, it's can happen very easily. So I'm just going to kind of hold it so I know it doesn't go all the way through. And just kind of very carefully. Now it's scored, the next step is to take, I use a board, I'm going to warp my table, and you apply heat. And the EVA foam will shrink, and it will show the, but you know, before we do that, I have an idea. Just to do this so you guys can see what's happening, let's wipe off the Sharpie mark. Wow, see, great. Now see that nice finite detail. That came out great. The best way to check is use the same foam you're using the part. Have a piece of scrap foam by, so you can check your wood burner, make sure it's the proper temperature. All right, that's good. I have a fan off camera. I need to turn it on so when I'm doing this, so I will not breathe the toxic fumes. So you're gonna have a little bit of a noise on the microphone. That's the fan blowing, so just stand by. All right, the helmet's set for more than 45 minutes. We're going to reheat it. What that'll do is warm it back up. Now that we've got it heat shaped the way we like it, let the gluing begin. We're going to start with the face shield. And what I'm going to do with this is we're going to heat this up and just give it a slight curl. There you go, curls a little bit. And we see the F right here, so we know this is the front. It's going to line up here. And there. Now, of course, let's speed this up with the hairdryer. And this is what's great about these, the center line on the piece itself, is so you know exactly it's going to be dead center. And flush the edge. Like that. Great. Okay. And there we go. Ta-da! Now, before we add any more detail, on the actual Viking helmets, they have strips of metal that wrap around the edge of the helmet. They run a strip around the bottom of the head, and they run a strip across the top of the seams, and they have a strip going back here. So, before we start doing the detail work, let's go ahead and run the lower strips. What we do is you just take the edge, line this up, run this line to that line. All right, that should be enough. We're going to do with the side strip first. What we're going to do, we're going to do that first. And brush it right on our seam. When I brush stuff, I like to use, I either have a piece of paper or I have my heating board. I just like it so I can brush the glue on top of the foam and kind of go a little bit over the foam itself, so I know I'm getting a direct contact on the foam, so I'm getting all the way to the edges. And of course, to speed this up, hairdryer. No, I just realized something too. I want to give the illusion that this is wrapped around the helmet. So I'm not going to go flush. I want to do, let's brush some contact adhesive on the edge. On this, on the lip, and on the inside. Because I want to give the illusion, because I was looking at some real Viking helmets, and they would just take the metal and bend it and fold it underneath. Now with my strip, we start a little bit on the inside like this. See, fold it down. But when you're applying it, make sure you're dead centered. And therefore you're just going to follow up and match the seam right there. Let's go ahead and do the bottom edge. And perfect. Now I have the straps on, everything's placed. This is when we start to add on the detail. This is the brow. This is going to come down on like this. See, again, I should have these guys touching, because now I thought I would be able to hide that with this, and that was not happening, Ted. So what I wanted to do, hold on. We have a little bit of this mess. Let me just patch this. Let me patch these guys really quick. And you're thinking, what is Ted doing? I'm just gonna stick this in here like this. There. Now I fixed that mess up. Let's go back to where we were. This is where the brows are gonna fall. As you can see, you just go dead center, and I like to have the curls come over the on these helmet, have the curls come up just above that. That's where the curl is gonna stop. And lay it down. All right, now the detail is all done on the actual helmet. Let's go ahead and move on to the two side pieces and the back piece. Here we go. Here are the two side pieces and the back. If you can see where the holes are in the back, which we went ahead and I made a template and did a for the 2mm trim for the side of the helmets. And then when you do that, it goes over your holes, but do not thread because the holes are still there. And what you do is you take your brass tube and just line it from behind and push and twist, and voila, just like that. These little half rounds become instant little rivet detail. And I've been cutting those earlier, and so you can see I have a little jar full of these. We're going to be using, these are just 2mm pieces of foam with brass stock, and it's cut a bunch of holes to make some rivet detail. Now that we have these parts done, what I'm going to do is take my Dremel and I'm going to bevel the edges, because if you can see here, they're kind of uneven, gray foam is, so I'm going to Dremel them and make them all on the same level. Just clean up these edges so it kind of matches the thickness of this foam. Now that we got these guys edges nice and cleaned up, I'm going to go ahead and take some heat gun. I'm going to shape these up. I want to curl them a little bit more to match the, because they're going to go here on that helmet, and I would like to have a little bit more of a curve to it. Just like that. Okay, everything's been heat formed and curled. Our next step is I'm going to start putting on some rivet detail. Like I said, I went in with the brass tube. It's in 2mm foam and made a whole bunch of these. Now, a lot of people like using the googly eyes, and that works too as well, but what drives me crazy about it is you can hear them. They make sounds. I'm going to use my Zap-A-Gap. Now I got all the rivet detail on the sides. Let's move on to the helmet. And here's a little bit of some patchwork. I figure if I put a rivet in there, I'm not going to be able to get these. So I'm going to take some Kwik Seal right here. I'm just going to dab a little in there and smooth everything out. Super thin. I'm just going to go ahead and speed this up by using my hair dryer. All right, everything is in place. Bevel the edges. I got my rivet details on. Now I want this to look like a battle-worn helmet. So what I'm going to do is I have numerous Dremel bits. With this round bit, I'm going to go ahead and start making some nicks and dings on this helmet. Because this is a metal helmet and it's a Viking helmet, it's seen some action. So we're going to kind of definitely go through and start banging up the surface of this helmet. Now I'm not going to go too deep. I'm just going to do a lot of gentle, soft nudges and rounds. As a matter of fact, I'll stop talking about it and I'll just show you. I'm going to go back again with the sanding drum and do some nicks and scratches with that. And then I'm going to come back in with the ceramic wheel and do some deep scratches and nicks like a sword bush. The more I look at this, this seam right here, now I'm looking at it, I probably could just fill this in. Now, these nicks and scratches are fine, but I know what this is. And this is my seam line. It probably won't bother most people, but I'm going to put some Kwik Seal on that. All right, but I got the paper down. I'm going to get ready to seal this with Creature Cast. Creature Cast is a liquid neoprene rubber. What makes this up so great is that for you latex uppers, this is non-latex. And this particular brand I'm using, this is the semi-rigid. It's water thin, and I'm going to brush these on today. I'm going to pour this in a cup, and I'm going to apply it today with a chip brush. Also, what I have on the side you see here, this is wax paper. What I like to do with the wax paper is when you brush this stuff and you want to set it down and let it dry. Now, notice I don't have any sprues to hang it because I don't really feel with this now it's that particularly necessary. I'm just going to brush this up, and when it's nice and coated where I like it, I'm just going to set this on the wax paper. If you lay down the paper, I just found over time with Creature Cast, it'll just stick to the paper, and when you pull it off, you'll get chunks of paper on your piece. But to prevent that, I just put it on wax paper. There we go. Now the cool thing with Creature Cast is that when you brush this in, it just soaks into the foam really well and it performs quite a bond. If you want to know where to get Creature Cast, I will have links below the video. And when you're there, don't forget this, when you buy or purchase this, let them know that Evil Ted sent you. Oh, looking good. Again, now I'm glad I went by and patched those seams because now you can barely see them. But this stuff looks really great. I'm just going to do a really thin brush coat. Just going to get another second coat in this. There it is. Again, I let this dry. This took 24 hours. Let it get completely dry. Wow, Viking helmet. Now again, this might need a little bit of padding. I made this helmet a little bit bigger so it fits most people. I have a very small head. This can looks super awesome. If you guys want to know where to get this, if you guys like this helmet, you can get this in my store. Go to my website, eviltedsmith.com. Get in my shop and I have these patterns available. And you know what else would make this helmet look really cool? Or ram horns, or bull horns, or Krampus horns. And again, I have those patterns available in my shop. If you guys like what you're watching, don't forget to subscribe. And everything I use in this video, I have links for below. And while you're at my website, please be sure to get on my mailing list so you can keep up on current events and where I'll be. As a matter of fact, I will be at Emerald City Comic Con this year, which I'm looking forward to that. I won't have a booth, but I'll be there on foot walking around. So if you see me, please say hi. Also, I will be in Texas for AllCon. It's going to be my first time in Texas and also my first time at AllCon. It's a big convention that runs for I think 4 days, and I'll have a booth. I will be there. Please come by and say hi. Looking forward to it. Everybody, this video, if you notice, it was from my live stream, which I do on twitch.tv/EvilTedSmith, Mondays and Tuesdays from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Woohoo! Everybody, thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you back next time right here on Evil Ted Live. Oh, wait, you know what? This needs to be painted. Come back for that one as well. See you soon. Bye.